The story began with a girl named Lufas vowing to become strong enough to remove all inequality from the world. As she grew, she was seen surrounded by the bodies of fallen heroes. A party appeared before her and told her to give up, stating there was nothing she could do. She retorted that they were the ones who were finished. She rushed towards them, instantly slamming one to the ground. Their archer fired arrows at her, but she blocked them all. A bear fought her up close, but she dodged its attacks and sent it flying into a mountain before taking out the archer with her magic swords. The warrior punched her away, but she easily overpowered and smashed him down. He blew himself up to try to eliminate her, but she survived the explosion. The party leader tried to attack from behind, but she noticed him first. She attacked him, but it turned out to be an illusion. The real one appeared behind her. She stabbed him with her hand but was shocked to see he had a climax skill, realizing he had taken her attack on purpose. She tried to get away, but he slashed her while a mage sealed her with a spell. She laughed, praising them for defeating her, and mentioned they might stand a chance against the Devil King. It was revealed to be just a game. A boy couldn't believe he lost the fight, but he suddenly received a message he thought was from the game's company. He accepted it without reading and suddenly woke up in Lufas's body, losing his mind as he wondered if he had been transported into the game. He tried to ask the people around him for information but had no control over his body, accidentally using magic that made everyone bow before him. He realized he was using Lufas's racial skill, which applied pressure on those nearby. He tried to stop it, but it put even more pressure on them. He finally cancelled the skill, and an elf started losing his mind upon realizing they had summoned the Conqueror. Lufas realized the elf had information about him and started asking questions, but the elf was so scared he passed out. The summoners revealed that Lufas had been sealed for 200 years, but the Demon King was still alive, so they tried summoning a hero to defeat him. Lufas calmed them down, stating he was not the Conqueror they had heard about. He revealed that even though he lost the battle, he was satisfied with the results. He took out his wings and, as he flew away, told them to summon someone else since he wanted to explore the world. Outside, he was excited to be in his favorite game, living through the character he created. He knew he should find a way home but planned to enjoy his time first. He was in a game called Xgate, set in the world of Mizgard. One famous feature was war, where players fought for control of each other's nations. Another selling point was a feature called Novel, which adapted a player's endgame actions into a story published as the official history. The player had created the most powerful character, Lufas, and used her to unite all of Mizgard for the first time, a feat so great she became a semi-official character. Knowing an era with a single ruler wasn't fun, he negotiated with other high-level players to split their forces into the Conqueror's army, led by Lufas, and the Army of Light, led by the heroes. They held the greatest battle in the game's history, completely ignoring the official final boss, which ended with Lufas being sealed. Lufas headed to the sky tower he used as a base. Entering it, he felt nostalgic even though it was his first time seeing it in person. Sitting on the throne, he thought about chatting with friends while playing but remembered a strange memory, making him wonder if he was truly in the game world. A girl named Dena appeared, happy to see him after waiting 200 years for his return. He didn't know who she was, which made her cry. She mentioned she was his advisor, which made him remember she was an NPC he created for the base. He praised her for protecting the base in his absence, making her happy, and asked her to tell him everything that had happened. Dena revealed that the 7 heroes who defeated Lufas had formed their own nations, but 4 had already died of old age. She noted the Devil King was alive and well since he had defeated the heroes, and Lufas wondered if they were also players like him. She added that the 12 heavenly stars were still alive, which was the title he gave to the 12 monster NPC companions he obtained. She revealed that 2 had joined the Devil King to get revenge on the humans who defeated Lufas, and he thought they must be punished. Glad to now have a goal, he told Dena they were going on a journey to gather the 12 heavenly stars. She revealed the location of one named Aries. Lufas quickly took out his wings to fly there, but Dena stopped him, noting they needed preparations. They were broke, and it would be difficult to earn money since everyone knew Lufas. The only option was to accept quests as adventurers, a job that didn't care about background. They decided to go for it. They visited a city where Lufas mentioned it was difficult to walk in his robe, but Dena said they needed to avoid attention. They arrived at the guild, and Dena recalled that Lufas had been an adventurer before forming his nation, though he didn't understand why he felt nostalgic. She proposed a job to find cats, but he rejected it as not his specialty. They accepted a quest to eliminate orcs instead. They arrived at a village and met the old man who posted the job. Dena assured him Lufas would handle the orcs. At the orcs' base, Dena thought they were so ugly even the goddess must hate them. Lufas noted the goddess loved everyone equally, but Dena disagreed. He prepared to attack, checking his stats to find they were the same as before, but he didn't know if he could kill monsters. He used magic to create swords and launched them at the orcs, surprised he wasn't bothered by the slaughter. The rest of the orcs rushed him, but he didn't understand why they were so slow. He sliced off their heads. The leader smashed him with all its might, but he was completely fine. He realized the orcs were weak, but he was just too strong. The leader attacked again, but Lufas got close and, with a tap, caused it to explode. As Dena tore the orcs open, she mentioned they were lucky their tenderloins weren't damaged, revealing they could increase vitality by eating them. She noted orcs were always fighting, so there was only a 3% chance for their tenderloins to be normal. She teleported everything back to the tower, impressing Lufas. They freed the women enslaved by the orcs. Dena mentioned they hadn't been defiled, so Lufas noted orcs were gentlemen who took great care of women in hopes of winning their affection, though the kidnapped people still found them scary, so they could never live together in peace. He made a huge fist and smashed their base. Riding a golem back to the village, he wondered why no one accepted such an easy quest. Dena told him the standard of combat had declined in the past 200 years, noting the strongest swordsman in the kingdom who summoned him was only level 120. Lufas was shocked, as many players had reached level 1000 like him. Dena explained people only had one life. To reach level 1000, they needed to spend every day fighting and training. She noted his era was an abnormality since he and his rival heroes reached the max level. At the village, the old man gave them their reward, and Lufas realized hiding his identity made the villagers treat him differently. The old man asked if they could keep the golem. Lufas noted it would protect them if the orcs attacked again, and the villagers thanked him. They continued their journey toward the nation of Spell, formed by the hero Megrez. Lufas planned to retrieve Aries and find out if Megrez was a player. He was interested in the light surrounding them, and Dena mentioned it was mana. Reaching Spell, she showed guards fake passes to gain entry. Lufas wanted to meet Megrez, making Dena wonder if he planned to storm the castle, but he explained he would handle things peacefully. He wanted to go to the library to learn what happened in the last 200 years. They asked a man named Gantz for help, and he told them to follow him. Dena introduced Lufas, but he stomped on her foot again for telling Gantz he was suspicious. Gantz thought Lufas's clothes were weird but decided not to ask. As they walked, Dena was surprised by how lively it was. Gantz noted that ever since Aries started attacking, people thought living there was too dangerous. He told Lufas not to worry, as the water around the nation was a golem created by Megrez. Checking its stats, Lufas was impressed by its high HP. Gantz showed them a train to the eastern area where the library was. As he left, Lufas checked his stats and saw he was level 82, quite high for a human. At the library, Lufas was surprised to see books against the heroes and thought the author should be punished for treason. Dena noted Megrez wasn't running an oppressive government and revealed Lufas wasn't hated by everyone. There were books that treated him as a villain, but many thought that if he were still in charge, they wouldn't need to fear the devil folk. He read a book mentioning how Lufas appeared 200 years ago and took over the world but was never a tyrannical ruler. After the 7 heroes defeated him, it became easier for the devil folk to go on the offensive since no one was left to stop them. The 7 heroes banded together to fight the Devil King but couldn't defeat him, which was why the human habitat had shrunk so much. Lufas was shocked to learn the world was on the verge of destruction. Even though he knew the Devil King was alive, he had no idea things were so bad. After reading, he planned to find Aries, but the ground shook, and an announcement ordered mercenaries to gather at the border. Lufas asked Dena how often Spell had earthquakes. She said it rarely happened, but he revealed Aries had a skill that caused earthquakes, making them think it was about to attack. Dena sensed a mana fluctuation and suggested checking it out by train, but Lufas thought it was too slow. He used alchemy to make a flying device. As they flew towards the fluctuation, he mentioned Aries was a rainbow sheep that liked peace. He thought the only reason it was attacking Spell was because it had been taken down by the heroes. He suddenly remembered something that confused him, as the memory didn't belong to him. The narrative flashed back to when Lufas first ran into Aries. He was surprised a rainbow sheep was a legendary monster born only once every 500 years. Aries started to cry, and Lufas knew it was because he had been running from both humans and monsters, as a thread of his wool was more valuable than gold. Lufas noted that instead of crying, Aries should use his strength to attack his enemies. Aries jumped towards Lufas and bit his hand. Lufas put Aries on the ground and invited him to join his side, telling him he would conquer the world. Aries agreed and became his first companion. In the present, Gantz reported to his captain and was shocked by the number of monsters they needed to hold back until the main forces arrived. The captain said they had no choice but to fight, noting the earlier earthquake was Aries declaring war. They knew he only did that before attacking, as it was a rule Lufas had imposed on himself, so they realized Aries was trying to copy his master. The captain told the mags to attack. They shot fireballs at the monsters while archers rained down arrows. Soldiers rushed with spears, and Gantz started cutting them down but realized there were too many. He wondered when the main forces would arrive, as they were about to be overwhelmed. A golem named Leia suddenly came to their rescue, hitting the monsters with a huge energy attack. Megrez praised everyone for holding their ground, saying it was his turn to protect them. Watching Leia eliminate monsters, Lufas and Dena realized she could handle them herself, and Lufas thought she might defeat Aries. Dena noted Aries was at a disadvantage since he used fire while Leia used water, and she had Megrez supporting her. Lufas thought he wouldn't be able to see Megrez's status since they were the same level, but he was shocked to see Megrez was only level 500. He also noticed a status ailment called the Mark of the Vanquished. Dena mentioned the Devil King had cursed the heroes after defeating them, so they could only use half their true power. She thought Megrez wasn't strong enough to make another golem like Leia. Aries came out to face Leia. As they clashed, Megrez thought they had the advantage in a direct fight. Aries shot a fireball everyone thought he missed, but Lufas knew he was aiming for Megrez. Leia used her body to block it. She turned into a huge wave to drown Aries, but he jumped over the water and attacked Megrez, who protected himself with a shield but struggled when Aries covered himself with flames. Leia wrapped herself around his body to stop him. Lufas noted she would win the battle but not the war, as Aries' main goal was to weaken her, knowing he couldn't defeat her in a single invasion. Lufas already thought something was strange, as the monsters Aries brought were too weak. He would probably retreat, knowing Leia and Megrez couldn't follow him. Aries broke free from Leia's hold and charged up his attack. Lufas decided to interfere, as it would be troublesome if he weakened Leia further. He kicked Aries away, sending him flying through mountains. Lufas landed in front of Megrez, who asked who he was. He didn't reveal his identity, but Megrez got an idea from his familiar behavior. Lufas assured him he would take care of Aries. He told Dena to follow with her teleportation magic, as he didn't want to fling her around while fighting. He prepared to leave, but Megrez warned him to be careful, as someone was controlling Aries from behind the scenes. Lufas happily took the warning from an old friend. Lufas went to meet Aries, who had no idea who he was. He was surprised Aries could speak. Unleashing his powers, Aries realized he was Lufas but thought he was an imposter, as he had died long ago. Lufas told Aries to fight him if he didn't believe him. Aries put his body on fire and rushed towards Lufas, who easily stopped him, threw him into the air, beat him up, and smashed him to the ground. Aries covered his body with blue flames, and Lufas realized he was about to use his full strength. Aries charged but still didn't stand a chance. Lufas sent him flying into a wall again, making Aries realize he was the real Lufas. Aries turned into his human form and started to cry, hugging Lufas, who apologized for making him worry. Dena appeared from a teleportation portal. After 20 minutes, Aries stopped crying. Lufas mentioned he was on a journey to gather the 12 heavenly stars and told Aries to join him. Aries happily accepted, glad to be Lufas's first companion again. He greeted Dena but didn't know who she was. She tried to make him remember, and he realized she was the girl who always blended into the background, which upset her. She complained to Lufas, who told Aries to stop bullying her, as she had been a great help. Aries said he just spoke his mind, making her angrier. Lufas asked Aries why he was attacking Spell. Aries explained he wanted revenge on the humans who betrayed Lufas while he was trying to create a world free from devil folk. Aries started to cry, angry that the traitors who defeated Lufas were called heroes. Lufas patted his head to calm him down. He had already suspected that was Aries' reason but remembered Megrez saying someone was manipulating him. He asked Aries about it. Aries noted he had no plan for revenge but was glad Aries felt the need to avenge him, which was why he wanted to punish the manipulator. Meanwhile, a devil folk named Mars told his army of monsters it was time to march toward Spell and eliminate all humans. He knew Leia couldn't stop them since she was weakened and was excited to kill a hero, thinking the time spent manipulating Aries was worth it. Lufas and Aries suddenly arrived from the sky, making a huge crater in the ground, which surprised Mars. He asked Aries what was going on, as he was supposed to be destroying Spell, but Aries said he decided against it after realizing it wasn't what Lufas would have wanted. Mars said Aries had fulfilled his role but couldn't be allowed to live since he betrayed them. Lufas told Aries to step back, as he hadn't recovered from his last fight. Mars wondered who Lufas was and mentioned he didn't know someone as strong was still in the world. He told Lufas to blame his luck for running into him. His body glowed as he took out knives covered with ice and flames, rushing towards Lufas. He moved with incredible speed, bragging about how amazing he was, and prepared to strike. Lufas told him to be silent and punched him away. Mars glimpsed Lufas's face and realized he messed with the wrong person. Lufas couldn't believe how weak he was. He recalled Mars mentioning he was one of the luminaries and asked Aries about it. Before he could answer, Dena appeared from a portal and said she would explain. Dena revealed that luminary was a title given to the 7 generals of the devil folk, formed only 80 years ago, which was why Lufas hadn't heard of them. They were the strongest devils aside from the Devil King and his son, which surprised Lufas since Mars wasn't even level 300. Dena noted it showed how the standards of even the devil folk had fallen. Even though the Devil King defeated the humans, he also lost his most talented men, so he wasn't able to destroy the world. Lufas wondered if the only ones left who could fight him were the Devil King and the 12 heavenly stars. Aries noticed none of the monsters were dead. Lufas revealed he spared them since they were just manipulated. Knowing they might attack humans if left alone, he used a spell to make them his minions. Dena wondered if he planned to take all of them, but he just ordered them to return to their habitats and never attack humans without good reason. They returned to Spell, and Lufas told Megrez what happened. Megrez thought he was right about Lufas and asked him to come, saying he needed to discuss an important matter. Lufas thought about how they used to play the game together, chatting a lot, but didn't know if Megrez was the same person. He ran into a few people who told him to be careful, as he and Leia were extremely important to their nation. Dena noticed they didn't care for Megrez's safety, and Lufas mentioned they were only thinking about themselves. Megrez noted they were the upper class, supposed to defend everyone, but only cared about protecting themselves. Lufas wondered if that was what he was trying to show him, but Megrez said he just wanted him to see the proof of his mistakes. They headed to a room with no surveillance. Megrez told Lufas to show his face, so he took off his robe, confirming Megrez's suspicions. Megrez tried to greet him like an old friend, but Lufas saw fear on his face, making him think Megrez wasn't the person he used to play with. Megrez asked why he returned, wondering if he was there to laugh at the humans for how far they had fallen. Lufas said he was just summoned by accident. He was confused, as he was Megrez's sworn enemy back from the dead, so it would make sense for Megrez to oppose him, but he wasn't doing anything. Lufas recalled the books criticizing the heroes and realized Megrez had collected them, feeling guilty for defeating Lufas since it allowed the devil folk to go on the offensive. He told Megrez to be proud of defeating a powerful enemy and keep moving forward on the path he believed in, saying it was what the Megrez he knew would have done. Megrez asked if he hated the people for betraying him since they stopped him from reaching his goal, but Lufas thought they stood against him because he wasn't a good leader, so he had no reason to hate anyone. He told Megrez to stop blaming himself, as he was a hero to the people. Megrez remembered drinking and laughing with Lufas while discussing their goals and smiled, thanking him for his advice. Lufas restored Leia's HP, and Megrez wondered where he planned to go next. Dena mentioned they were going to the grave people made for Lufas, as it was where they could find one of the 12 heavenly stars named Libra. She noted Lufas's followers made the world's biggest structure to honor him, and the top floor was filled with his treasure and equipment. Libra had been staying there to protect everything but had become a killing machine that eliminated anyone who got close. Lufas didn't understand why people risked their lives to steal his items. Megrez revealed all legendary weapons were destroyed fighting the Devil King, and the only ones remaining were in Lufas's grave. He asked Lufas to give them the weapons he didn't need. Lufas accepted the request and told his companions it was time to leave. Megrez gave him new clothes and wrapped an item around his wings to make them invisible, knowing Lufas wasn't comfortable in his previous outfit. Lufas thanked him and bid farewell, while Megrez told him to have a safe journey. They headed to Gans to say goodbye. He was shocked by how beautiful Lufas was and even more shocked to learn Aries was a boy, which made Lufas laugh. As they were about to leave, Gans tried to ask if he was the real Lufas from 200 years ago but stopped himself and just told them to take care. Preparing to start their journey, Dena told Lufas to make a golem to travel around, but he thought her teleportation magic was better. She explained the spell was for personal use only. To teleport another living thing, she needed to knock them unconscious or get their consent, and there was still a chance of failure. Lufas didn't mind walking, but she said not everyone was superhuman like him and thought he should make a bath and bed for them to rest. He decided to do it after seeing the look in Aries' eyes and used magic to make a trailer, impressing his companions. He also created furniture, but Dena thought it was too hard, so he made it soft by covering it with Aries' fur. They decided to call the trailer Tanaka. As Lufas ordered it to take them to their destination, they were amazed by how comfortable it was. At night, they found a spot to rest, and Dena was surprised to find a hot spring nearby. She was excited to get in and tried to take Aries with her, but he told her to go without him, making her remember he was a boy. She took off her clothes and got in. Lufas felt awkward, being a man in a girl's body. He finally mustered the courage to take off his clothes but kept a towel on, refusing to get fully naked. As he was about to get in, Dena stopped him, saying he needed to put up his hair first or it might dirty the water. She was about to get out to help, but he told her to stay, as he couldn't bring himself to see her naked. In the hot spring, Lufas couldn't stop staring at Dena's body but was confused since he felt no emotion. She noticed a rare species of frogs and saw one of the males change its gender since there was only one female. Dena noted that after changing gender, the frogs also developed feelings for the opposite gender, which surprised Lufas, who was afraid he might fall in love with a man. As they got out, Aries decided to go in next, and Lufas was surprised by how feminine he acted. The next day, they reached Lufas's grave, but he was surprised to see a whole village around it. Dena revealed many people tried to steal from his grave, so merchants moved there to make money. Aries was angry and vowed to make them pay, but Lufas told him to calm down, surprised by how serious he was. They noticed a crowd near the entrance. Dena asked a party what was happening. They revealed a special team went into the grave 2 months ago but hadn't done their daily check-in. The team reported they were close to the top floor the day before, which excited everyone. Lufas told his companions they should retrieve Libra before she harmed the team. Adventurers tried to stop them, saying the team was made of 50 men whose powers were recognized by the nation, and they still struggled to conquer the grave. They thought Lufas and his comrades didn't stand a chance, but he assured them they would be fine. Inside the grave, they ran into a golem Lufas created when fighting the 7 heroes. It still recognized him as its master and didn't attack him, but it tried to eliminate Dena, as her presence was so weak even the golem forgot about her. He was about to help her, but the adventurer party they had spoken to rushed in to save her. They hit it with everything they had, but it didn't scratch the golem due to their low level. Lufas told Aries to help, so he sent it flying into a wall with a fire punch, amazing the adventurers. They introduced themselves, and Lufas was surprised by how unbalanced their party was, as all were frontliners. Lufas introduced himself as a ranger, but Dena and Aries said they were also rangers. An adventurer named Jean mentioned their team wasn't balanced. Lufas was shocked someone like Jean was lecturing him and told him not to worry, as their levels were high. Jean said even though they were all beautiful, they were still muscleheads, further annoying Lufas. Jean noted his party could act as their bodyguard. Lufas tried to deny the request, but Dena accepted, telling Lufas they could relax until they reached Libra. Meanwhile, the other party reached the top floor and ran into Libra, who told them to leave peacefully or she would remove them by force. They explained humanity needed Lufas's treasure to survive, but she thought they were trying to steal her master's belongings. She trapped them in her barrier and took them out. As Lufas and the others moved forward, they ran into another golem. The adventurers tried to take care of it, but their attacks had no effect. It knocked them down, but Lufas ordered it to stop, giving them a chance to defeat it. They were confused by how weak it was but thought it was no match for their strength. Lufas wondered how long he needed to keep tricking them. They eventually ran into a stronger golem. Lufas told everyone to stay back. The adventurers warned he couldn't defeat it alone, but Aries and Dena said not to worry, as he must have a plan. He asked the golem if it recognized him, but it thought he was an intruder and tried to punch him. He dodged and sliced its body in half. As it was about to die, it recognized Lufas and welcomed him home. He thanked it and told it to rest in peace. The adventurers asked who he really was, as he had been supporting them since they entered and acted like he knew Libra. He refused to answer and told everyone to stay, as none could survive Libra's brachium skill. Moving forward, Lufas didn't understand why he felt sad after destroying the golem, thinking it would have made sense for the real Lufas, but he had no feelings or memories attached to it. He reached the top floor, but Libra thought he was an intruder and threatened to kill him if he didn't leave within 10 seconds. She started the countdown, so Lufas showed her his wings and asked if she knew who he was, making her wonder if he was her master. She verified a 99% chance he was the real Lufas, which made her malfunction. He told her to calm down, saying he needed to repair her. She warned that if he stepped forward, she would attack, but he didn't care and moved towards her. She transformed their surroundings and took out her guns, flying around with a jetpack while shooting bullets and missiles, but he dodged them all. She ran out of bullets and launched her fists, but he easily deflected them. Libra decided to use brachium, a skill guaranteeing a hit. Lufas prepared to take damage, as there was no way to dodge. A huge amount of energy came from her body, hurting Lufas and decreasing his HP, but he endured it and walked towards her, saying he had finally reached her. She shot a laser from her eyes, so he jumped out of the way. She turned her hand into a sword and tried to stab him, but he parried it as he rushed towards her. He healed all her injuries, making her realize he was the real Lufas. She ended her mission of guarding the grave, and Lufas was glad she calmed down. He wondered how to explain everything to the adventurers. Returning to the others, he noticed something wrong with the adventurers. Dena revealed she changed their memories to make them believe they never saw them and that they were the ones who conquered the grave. Lufas wondered if it was her plan from the beginning, and she said there was no other reason she would have let such hindrances come with them, making him glad she was on their side. They headed to the top floor and were surprised by the amount of treasure. Lufas started shaking. Dena recalled he liked shiny things, which was why he collected so much treasure, but he didn't remember adding that trait to his character. She thought they should get everything they needed before he went crazy. He assured her it would never happen, but she told him to return the useless things he was holding, shocking him since he didn't remember picking anything up. She told him to sit back, as he kept grabbing pointless things. After getting everything they needed, she asked him to gather all the golems, but he got tired and wondered who created such a huge grave for him. Dena teleported everything back to the tower. Lufas wondered if it was okay to leave the adventurers behind. Dena assured him they would be fine, and they were seen celebrating conquering the grave. Lufas told Libra to wake up and asked if something felt off with her body, but she assured him there were no issues. She noticed Aries and mentioned his body still didn't match his gender, surprising him that it was the first thing she said after 200 years. She greeted Dena but also had no idea who she was. Lufas noted she was his advisor, shocking Libra since she had no data on her. Dena tried to make Libra remember, so she scanned her face but found nothing. Libra mentioned part of her memory storage had deteriorated and would take months to restore, but there might be information on Dena in that part. Lufas thought about how he still couldn't tell what was going on in Libra's mind since she had no expressions, but he would trust her since she protected his grave for 200 years. He told her her next mission was to help retrieve the 12 heavenly stars and asked if she had information on any of them, but she explained she spent all her time in the grave and had no idea what was happening outside. Dena noted there was a small village at the base of the mountains created by one of the 12 heavenly stars named Parthenos, who lived there in secret. She revealed Parthenos made a barrier to protect powerless monsters and plants from enemies so they could live in isolation. Lufas was glad she took initiative instead of causing trouble, but Dena revealed the mountain was his homeland, and Parthenos had driven out all the Heavenwing who used to live there, creating an uninhabited sanctuary under her control. Lufas took back his previous statement and thought she could have just quietly waited for his arrival. Lufas woke from a strange dream, and Dena asked if he was okay. He said he just had a dream but couldn't remember it. Aries wondered where the Heavenwing went after Parthenos drove them out. Dena revealed they went to a place called Gjallarhorn, founded by one of the 7 heroes named Marak. They saw the royal capital of Gjallarhorn. Lufas thought he shouldn't show himself to the Heavenwing but wanted to see Marak, as he might be a player like him. He told everyone they would be stopping in Gjallarhorn. They immediately realized the city looked strange, as buildings were along the cliffside. Dena noted the Heavenwing split into 2 factions, White Wing supremacists who refused to acknowledge the rights of the Mixed Wing, thinking they were superior. Marak had been trying to stop both sides from fighting. Aries noted that during Lufas's reign, discrimination against the Mixed Wing was prohibited, but he couldn't remember giving such an order. Dena revealed the 2 sides had been fighting for 2 centuries, and Lufas thought he was the reason the Mixed Wing were persecuted, so he wanted to do something. They saw the stairs and realized they had a long way to the capital. Libra activated her jetpack and took everyone to the city. The Mixed Wing gathered around them since they made a loud noise upon arrival, and Dena apologized for disturbing everyone. A man thought they must be tired and invited them to stay at his family's inn, so they decided to rest for the night. Lufas dreamed about his character's father, who beat her up as a child because he thought she was the reason their family was suffering. He told her not to leave the house and locked her inside while he went to a party with other White Wing. Lufas's mother visited, but she told her she should be resting and said her father would be angry if he saw her. She gave Lufas bread and started walking away with her, but her father saw them and asked her mother why she helped Lufas escape. Lufas told her father not to hurt her mother, but she suddenly started coughing. Her father told Lufas she was the reason her mother was sick, knocked her down, and took her mother away. Lying on the ground, she wondered if her father didn't like her because she had dark wings. She got up and ran away, thinking how unfair the world was and that nobody was coming to save her, so she realized she needed to get stronger to change things herself. Lufas woke up, and Libra asked if he was okay. He told her not to worry, as he just dreamed about his past, but he knew he didn't create that backstory for his character. He thought about the strange things that happened, realizing he wasn't in the game world, and wondered what happened to the real Lufas's soul since he was stuck in her body. Meanwhile, at the Devil King's castle, the luminaries had a meeting and wondered why Mars wasn't with them. One named Venus noted he was the weakest of the 7 and a disgrace for losing to one of the 12 heavenly stars. She mentioned she had been looking into the person who defeated him and noted he had dark wings. Everyone wondered if it was Lufas but thought it impossible since he died 200 years ago. They asked if she knew where he was going. She said he was in Gjallarhorn and their leader ordered her to keep monitoring him. The next day, Lufas told the others he wanted to meet Marak, but they knew it would be difficult due to the internal conflict. He noted they should gather information first, and Libra asked where he was going. He said he would investigate the mixed wing. Dena decided to look into the white wing, and he mentioned they should split up, but Libra suddenly took off, annoying him since she attracted too much attention. Aries revealed that one of the heavenly stars named Kairos had invited him to join the devil folk long ago, so Aries thought he was working with the demons. Lufas walked around the city and saw a black temple, wondering what god the mixed wing worshipped. He saw his statue inside, and a man told him about their religion, revealing they worshipped Lufas as their savior. He explained the white wing always looked down on them because of their wing color, but Lufas used her strength to conquer the nation and ban discrimination, so everyone started treating them with respect, and they regained their pride as people stopped judging them. Lufas asked if he forgot about Parthenos, who stole their homeland. The man said he remembered but thought they were driven out as punishment for betraying Lufas and allowing the devil folk to rise to power. Lufas asked what he thought about King Marak. The man said he was a fool and didn't deserve to be called a hero. Libra looked for threats in the city and realized nobody was aware of her master's presence, but she saw Dena looking for someone while a suspicious man approached her. Libra thought he was a devil folk in disguise and immediately confronted him. He pretended to be a traveler, but she knew he was lying. He realized she saw through his disguise and tried to attack from behind, but she turned and fired a laser beam. He dodged it, but she said he wouldn't escape and started shooting. Aries realized it was too silent and suddenly found himself surrounded by a barrier. Kairos appeared, and Aries asked what he was doing. Kairos revealed he was working with the devil folk to defeat the 7 heroes, as his interests were aligned with theirs. He invited Aries to join them again, saying they could defeat the heroes together. Marak talked to White Wing officials who told him to exile the Mixed Wing faction. He had founded the nation for the Mixed Wing who had nowhere to go, but the White Wing lost their homeland, so he reluctantly welcomed them. They ended up persecuting the Mixed Wing. He knew they were wrong but wanted to respect their suggestion since he also had white wings, so he thought he wasn't fit to be king. He recalled how his parents raised him to become king of the Heaven Wing and how he met Lufas, who was persecuted for her dark wings but used people's hatred as fuel to get stronger. He respected her because he knew he was nothing compared to her. Libra continued shooting her opponent, but he used magic to defend himself, attacking with a wind slash. She blocked it with her pistol and realized he was a master of the wood element. He admitted she was right and revealed he was one of the luminaries named Jupiter. She formally introduced herself and transformed her hand into an energy blade. Aries refused to join Kairos, telling him Lufas had returned and trying to convince him to serve Lufas again. Kairos said he couldn't do that yet, explaining he was still loyal to Lufas but wanted to defeat the heroes before returning. He bid Aries farewell. After he left, Aries realized he had no right to stop him since he also wanted to kill the heroes and wondered if he should tell Lufas about Kairos. Dena saw a suspicious man and followed him to a hideout where he met White Wing companions. He told them they couldn't rely on Marak since he wouldn't listen and thought they should crush the Mixed Wing themselves. He revealed Jupiter said the Mixed Wing were preparing for war, so he recruited an army of volunteers but wondered why Jupiter didn't show up. Dena heard their conversation and realized the nation was on the brink of civil war, while Jupiter spread rumors to make it worse. Jupiter attacked with wind blades, but Libra shrugged them off, and he realized her body was as hard as steel since her element was metal. It was the worst matchup against his wood element, and he realized she had memorized his movement patterns, so he decided to retreat. He surrounded himself with a tornado, but she cut through it. He escaped, but she was confident he wouldn't survive their next encounter. Lufas and his companions discussed the situation, and Dena reported Jupiter was inciting the White Wing to start a war. Libra noted she fought him in the White District and revealed he was a luminary, so Lufas realized the devil folk were involved. She asked him to prepare guns and bullets for her to defeat Jupiter, and he said he would use alchemy to give her what she needed. Aries mentioned he had nothing to report, and Lufas said the Black District made a statue for him in their temple, so Libra thought they should support them. Dena noted they didn't need to get involved, but Libra explained if the nation fell, the devil folk would invade, and Luffas wouldn't have enough time to gather forces. She suggested forming an alliance with the Mixed-Wing faction so Luffas could use them as pawns after conquering the White District. He was impressed but said they wouldn't take sides and should focus on capturing Jupiter to expose him to the public. Dena realized Luffas' plan to make him the villain so the entire nation would gang up on him, but he told them to prioritize their safety since he wanted them to make it back alive. Jupiter was angry Libra was ruining his plan. Venus told him to calm down, but he said he couldn't crush Marak since he couldn't defeat Libra. Venus decided to help, saying she could keep Libra in check for 20 minutes. Luffas used alchemy to make guns and bullets for Libra and told her to take as much as she liked, so she absorbed them into her body. He reminded her not to kill Jupiter, but she noted she hadn't seen Dena for a while and couldn't detect her in the city. He thought Dena used teleportation magic to return to their base. Libra wondered if he meant the spell called Escape, which suddenly made him feel strange. He recalled teleportation magic didn't exist 200 years ago, and Escape was the title of the game he played, wondering why Dena could use a spell with that name. Dena returned to the inn, but Luffas and Libra interrogated her, wondering why she was just a background NPC since she knew memory manipulation and teleportation magic. She revealed she trained hard for 200 years to be useful. Luffas realized she was telling the truth and used his observing eye to check her stats, realizing she was strong enough to fight the luminaries but still felt like he was missing something important. Dena revealed she could take Libra anywhere she wanted since the conditions for using Escape didn't apply to golems like her. Libra wanted to try and noted Jupiter hadn't approached the surrounding area, so she thought he wouldn't make his move soon. She said they would be gone for 10 minutes, and Dena teleported away with her, but there was suddenly an explosion. Luffas realized the White District was on fire. Jupiter told the White Wing the Black District was behind the attack, and they immediately believed him since they never trusted the Mixed Wing. A dark air surrounded the city, making everyone want to kill each other, so the two factions prepared for war. Luffas realized someone used moon magic to make them go berserk and knew it couldn't be Jupiter since he was of the wood element. Aries asked what he would do if one of the 12 heavenly stars started the riot. Luffas said he would do anything to stop them, but if they were still loyal to him, he would commend their efforts and say he didn't want to destroy the nation. Aries was happy to hear this and told Luffas to leave everything to him, but after he left, Luffas realized Xgate was the one who made everyone go berserk. Jupiter laughed as he watched events unfold and noted he still had 10 minutes before Libra returned, but she suddenly appeared behind him. He wondered how she got there since Venus was supposed to keep her busy for 20 minutes and thought she must have screwed up. Libra told him to surrender since he didn't stand a chance, and he tried to escape, but she shot him from behind and launched homing missiles. He destroyed them, but she revealed she already predicted his move and sent him crashing to the ground. He used wind magic to hide his presence, but she still found him. He used a spell to break free and started running. Aries confronted Xgate, who realized he was there to stop him. Xgate warned Aries he was no match, but Aries refused to back down. Xgate blasted him with spells, so Aries used flames to defend himself, but Xgate restrained him. Aries knew Xgate was stronger but still refused to back down, smashing the ground to break free. He surrounded himself with flames as he charged in and managed to defeat Xgate, but realized it was just an illusion. The real Xgate summoned a ball of darkness to attack him. Aries thought it was over, but Luffas protected him and asked Xgate why he was trying to kill his ally. Xgate was overjoyed to see Luffas and started crying, so Luffas realized he was still loyal. He said he understood why Xgate wanted revenge but told him he didn't want to destroy the nation, asking him to free the people from his spell. Xgate agreed and transformed into his human form, saying the people were no longer under his spell. He hid in Luffas' shadow but said it wasn't over since the two factions still hated each other. Dena told him not to worry, as they could still prevent civil war, and promised to convince the people to settle things peacefully. Xgate was surprised to see her and recognized her as the advisor who faded into the background thanks to her stealth ability, but Luffas and Aries couldn't believe he remembered her. Jupiter hid and prayed to his god since he didn't want Libra to find him, but he realized she was already behind him, so he freaked out and ran. She followed him wherever he went and said she could predict all his moves, so he wouldn't survive unless he surrendered. He tried to hide in a cabin but realized she was already there waiting and threatened to use her brachium if he didn't give up. She gave him 10 seconds to surrender and started counting down, so he cried and begged for mercy. She realized he lost his will to fight and decided to spare him. Luffas realized the people were ready to kill each other, and Marak told them to stop since the devil folk would conquer them if they didn't come to terms. Luffas wondered why he only had one wing and used his observing eye to see Marak had lost one due to the mark of the vanquished. Libra suddenly arrived and told everyone to deal with Jupiter, but they had no idea what was happening. Dena explained he was one of the 7 luminaries serving the Devil King. The White Wing recognized him but were surprised to learn he was a devil. She told everyone to gang up on him since he caused the fight. They prepared to execute him, but he saw her smiling and immediately recognized her, realizing he had been betrayed. He broke free and rushed to attack her, but Libra stabbed him from behind and reminded him she would kill him if he tried anything. He was about to tell everyone about Dena's true identity, but Libra finished him off. Dena was glad it was finally over. Marak thanked Libra for saving the nation and said he wanted to talk to her in the castle, but she explained she only took orders from her master. He realized she meant Luffas and invited him to the castle, telling him to remove his disguise. Luffas showed his wings, and Marak couldn't believe he was still alive, while Luffas realized he wasn't a player like him. Luffas told Marak he had grown weaker, but Marak explained he was always weak and thought he wasn't fit to be king, saying he was nothing compared to Luffas. He said the heroes shouldn't have taken him down, but Luffas called him a fool, thinking his character wouldn't want Marak to say that since she didn't regret her defeat. He said the hero's victory wasn't a mistake and told Marak to be proud as one of the heroes who defeated him. Marak admitted he was no match and said Luffas hadn't changed at all, but Luffas noted he wouldn't help Marak run his nation, so he needed to figure things out himself. After leaving the castle, Luffas said he wasn't used to giving lectures, and Libra said she couldn't record what happened. He told her to delete the photos of him talking to Marak, but she didn't know what a photo was, and Aries and Kiros thought it must be a spell. Luffas realized there were no photos in this world but recalled his first conversation with Dena, who understood when he mentioned the word photos. He told her he wanted to talk in private. Meanwhile, White Wing officials tried to convince Marak to get rid of the Black District, but he used his powers to intimidate them and said he had had enough. He ordered guards to take them away and was glad the issue was resolved, thinking he made the right move. A man reported to a vampire named Bennett Nash about the situation in Spell, and she realized Luffas had returned, looking forward to settling the score. Once they were private, Luffas asked Dena who she really was and pointed out she lied about being his advisor from 200 years ago. Dena affirmed this and mentioned she was neither Luffas' advisor, subordinate, nor another player like him. Luffas also realized she used memory manipulation on Aries and Kiros. Dena affirmed this, mentioning she couldn't use it on Libra because she was a golem with records, not memories. Luffas suspected Dena manipulated his memories as well, but Dena said she couldn't because he had a stronger will, and the only way to influence him was to impersonate his NPC and nudge his thoughts. Dena then revealed she was a beta tester hired by the company to test the half-elf race planned for the next update. She told Luffas she could freely go to and from the Devil Folk castle and had planned to make the Devil Folk and Luffas crush each other, but since that wasn't possible, she would have to defeat Luffas and make him do her bidding. Luffas pointed out Dena was weak at level 300. Dena maniacally laughed and revealed that was fake, her actual stats were level 1000, indicating she was as strong as Luffas. She reintroduced herself as Venus, one of the Devil Folk's 7 luminaries, the Metal Venus. She immediately flew into the sky, erected a magic barrier, invited Luffas to a fight to the death, and threw a lightning ray at him. Luffas took the hit and stood without a scratch. Dena summoned metal spikes and hurled them at Luffas, who repelled them with her wings and created swords to hurl back. Dena used Xgate to move the swords to another dimension, surrounded Luffas with Xgates, and made them re-emerge. Luffas flew to close in on Dena in the sky. Dena moved through an Xgate and reappeared at a distance, summoning rain that sprouted tree roots to bind Luffas. Luffas evaded and destroyed the roots with a kick, closing in again. Dena used Xgate again but was shocked as Lufas appeared behind her. Dena dodged Lufas's punch and countered with her own. Lufas took her punch, grabbed her hand, and launched her to the ground with a palm attack. Lufas mentioned to Dena that she couldn't defeat her because she never actually played the game and had a perfect balance of abilities, while players like Dena always looked for ways to exceed their max levels. Lufas said she was willing to forget about Dena's betrayal because of the precious time they spent together and asked Dena to explain her reasons. Dena shrugged off Lufas and summoned a meteor with Xgate, then left using Xgate. Lufas flew straight towards the falling meteor, activated her iron kick skill, coated her leg with weak point strike, and kicked the meteor into tiny pieces. Dena fell to her knees in shock and awe at what Lufas had done. Lufas descended and asked Dena the reason for her actions. Dena explained she was a test player who came to the world after Lufas was sealed 200 years ago, occupying the avatar she used to play. Players who weren't in the original novel used for the game were gone, revealing the world they were in was not the game but the world of the novel. Dena mentioned she met a few acquaintances from reality in the new world, but they all died at the hands of the devil folk, and she was the only one left. Realizing she couldn't defeat the Devil King and stop them from destroying the world, she infiltrated the devil folk ranks to delay their conquest from within. That led her to use Lufas to gather the 12 heavenly stars and guide him to defeat the Devil King. Just then, Lufas had a headache and felt dizzy. Once recovered, she asked Dena if she intended to be her enemy. Dena said she did not. Lufas stated she would overlook the matter and asked Dena to continue serving her, which surprised Dena. Lufas mentioned she found a comrade in Dena, as they were the only anomalies in the world, and she was willing to turn a blind eye to a few pranks from her fairly dangerous subordinate. Lufas lent out her hand and asked Dena to be her subordinate. Dena took her hand and pledged loyalty to Lufas as her king. Just then, Libra, Aries, and Kairos came calling out to Lufas and asked about the meteor. Lufas explained some unknown forces tried to destroy Gjallarhorn. She asked them to head to Parthenos, as they had accomplished their mission. Lufas asked Kairos if he had information on the other heavenly stars aside from the one at Parthenos. Kairos mentioned Scorpius the Scorpion became vengeful and joined the devil folk, and Leo the Lion had been waging war against the vampire princess Benetnash. He finally informed Lufas that the kingdom of Levitine succeeded in summoning a hero. Back at Levitine, they were happy to successfully summon a hero from another world, who was shocked after being summoned. They were introduced to Isekai, an average high school student. He heard a voice crying for help on his way home from school and, being a good guy, answered and offered to help. A magic portal appeared beneath his feet, and he was teleported to another world. He turned out to be the hero summoned by the Levitine kingdom. The king and his servants explained to Isekai that he was brought through a summoning ritual to be the hero and fight to defeat the devil folk led by the Devil King and Luffas the Conqueror. As the king and servants asked Isekai to be the hero they desperately needed, he recalled his father, a policeman, who advised him to help people in trouble, as he dreamed of becoming a good policeman like his father. As a good guy at heart, he said he couldn't think of killing another person but was willing to offer help to those in need in pursuit of his dream. He declared to the king and people he would offer his help. The king shook his hand and thanked him. A few weeks later, Isekai fell to the ground during sword training and thought he wasn't as strong as he hoped. He was being trained by a tiger beastman, Friedrich, a sword master. Isekai faced a language barrier as Friedrich only spoke beast folk language. Just then, an ugly woman, the vice captain, stepped in to translate. As she finished, Friedrich launched himself into a wall and caught a rat. Isekai thought Friedrich was just a big cat after all. His thoughts were interrupted by an elf named Cross, who notified him that all party members had finally been gathered for his journey. In the king's throne room, the king announced they had prepared the best of everything for the hero's journey. His party would consist of Friedrich the Sword Saint, the vice captain, Cross the Master of Divine Arts, Alfie a top magic school graduate, steel golems from Megrez, and a squad of 10 ninjas. With that, the king commanded Isekai to go on his journey. Isekai thought things were moving so fast. Isekai and his party made their way through a cheering crowd to the kingdom gates, and he thought that was his origin story. Just as they made it out of the gates, Lufas and the Devil King Orm appeared in the sky, stunning the heroes' party. A few minutes before, Kiros announced to Lufas that the Levantine kingdom had succeeded in summoning a hero. Lufas thought no one knew about heroes until Alieth discovered it, and there was no one else able to obtain that class. She noted the hero class made Alieth's abilities grow so fast he rapidly became the highest-ranking player. Lufas pointed out the hero would be killed since the devil folk also knew about the summoning. Kiros affirmed this, mentioning the devil folk might send a luminary to attack the hero at the start of his journey. Dena also mentioned the luminaries wouldn't be effective in the kingdom due to the barrier soul success hero skill protecting Levantine, created by the Sword King Alieth. Dena further explained that as long as the Devil King and his son didn't show up, the hero would be safe, but if either did, it could bring ruin to Levantine since they could attack outside the kingdom. Lufas declared she was going to Levantine and flew away. Lufas watched over Levantine from behind the barrier and thought the luminaries wouldn't stand a chance against it. Just then, the Devil King appeared behind Lufas. Back to the present, the Devil King introduced himself and expressed his pleasure to meet Alka, the name the devil folk called her out of fear and respect. Lufas also introduced herself as Alka. During the introductions, the hero and his party were crushed under the pressure from their presence. Lufas asked Orm his reason for coming, and he confessed he wanted to meet her and had been avoiding direct contact. He said he realized they shouldn't have lost Lufas, as she was the only one operating outside the goddess's scenario. Lufas asked for further explanation, but Orm said she would have to get it out of him by force. Lufas accepted the challenge, and they both launched into the sky, starting an epic battle that blew the hero and his party away with the ripples. Lufas and Orm exchanged ferocious attacks, causing massive destruction. The hero and his party stood in shock, and Alfie had a panic attack, wondering how they were expected to defeat those two monsters. The battle continued with earth-shattering attacks. It finally ended when Orm stopped a punch from Lufas that split the heavens. Orm acknowledged Lufas' strength, and Lufas realized she underestimated the Devil King and thought she might lose if the fight continued. They both descended. On the ground, the hero and his party were still in shock. Once Lufas and Orm reached the ground, Orm mentioned that was not Lufas' full strength. Lufas asked for an explanation, and Orm explained the Lufas from 200 years ago was far stronger than she currently was. He said the world followed the goddess's scenario, and Lufas' strength reduction did not divert from it. He explained the devil folk were just pawns used to bring excitement to the goddess's scenario. The devil folk had a role and innate trait to kill and restore mana as a product of their conquest. Lufas realized there was a backstory she didn't know about, and Orm was not a devil himself. Just then, Cross, terrified from hearing the truth of the world, asked if what Orm said was true and if the goddess they worship really desired the killings. Orm confirmed and pointed out that was why the battle 200 years ago happened, strange as it might have been. Originally, Lufas was supposed to defeat him, then he would later overthrow Lufas, but the 7 heroes intervened and sealed Lufas away without waiting for that moment. Orm further revealed Lufas reached the truth before anyone else, which was why she wanted to defeat the devil folk and unite the world under her command. Just then, Dena and Libra attacked Orm to create a distraction, and Libra snatched Lufas away, leaving Dena behind. Orm asked Dena if she knew Lufas was weakened, and she affirmed. Orm asked if that was her doing, and Dena said it was impossible for her, as only the goddess could do such a thing. After that, both Dena and Orm disappeared, leaving the hero and his party in despair. In the van, Lufas demanded to know why she was snatched from her conversation with the Devil King. Libra explained Lufas was Orm's target, and the heroes were insignificant to him. She came to that conclusion from information Dena shared after listening to their conversation. Just then, Dena appeared and confirmed the Devil King left without engaging the hero and his party. Lufas thought to herself that at least her goal of protecting the hero was achieved. Lufas excused herself and sat atop the moving van to think. She thought of how little she knew of the world and recalled Alovenus to be the character that represented the developers in the game, the goddess who created the world and had a hand in her resurrection. She wondered what the goddess's scenario actually was and what the original Lufas was trying to do 200 years ago, affirming there were differences between the game and the world. Back at Levantine several days later, the king apologized for the failed mission despite their preparations and mentioned Alfie's resignation and the disappearance of the Rangers. However, he had assembled another elite party for the hero. The new party consisted of Alfie's father, the ogre Gantz, and the Hawkeye adventurer party who were with Luffas when they went to find Libra. King Aliath VI wanted to join the hero's party but was obviously denied and hauled away. The hero was surprised and asked if that was even legal, but Cross the elf mage said that was just how the king was. Then, Cross announced the new party had officially been formed to defeat Luffas and Orm the Devil King. Luffas and her servants reached Vanaheim, Luffas' homeland. Dena mentioned Parthenos had been protecting Vanaheim for 200 years, but Luffas wondered if that was possible since Parthenos was human, and humans didn't live that long. They passed through the barrier with ease, and Luffas thought Parthenos must have recognized them as allies. They shortly arrived at a house and knocked. A young Heavenwing opened the door to greet them. Kiros tried to scare the young one, but Luffas immediately grabbed and threw him away for being rude. Luffas introduced herself and her subjects and asked to meet Parthenos. The young Heavenwing referred to Parthenos as Granny, but Luffas noted she wasn't blood-related. The young Heavenwing recognized Luffas and introduced herself as Virgo. She then led them to Parthenos' grave. Luffas asked Dena why she didn't tell him about Parthenos' passing. Dena said she thought she was still alive since the barrier around Vanaheim was active. Virgo explained Parthenos became a ghost after harboring so much resentment and occasionally came out to restore the barrier. However, since she recently restored it, it might take time for her to come out again. Hearing that, Kiros went ahead and used a massive attack to break the barrier, causing Parthenos to come out to restore it. This infuriated Luffas, but he decided to wait. After a long wait, Parthenos never showed up, so Luffas decided to leave and continue his journey but was reminded by Aries to visit his mother's grave. Luffas learned the mountain was 3,807 meters tall and remodeled the van into an airplane. They all boarded the Tanaka jet and flew to the top. They landed at Luffas' childhood home, and he had visions of the maltreatment and abuse she suffered. Libra noted the childhood city was a nice place, but Luffas remarked she only had bitter memories, as she was scorned, discriminated against, and neighborhood children threw stones at her. Dena cautioned Luffas not to get too dragged into the real Luffas' memories, as he might lose his sense of self. Just then, Libra, Aries, and Kiros raged, threatening to destroy the city that treated Luffas badly. Luffas scolded them, saying he didn't want to destroy his home and his mother's grave. Once they reached Luffas' parents' house, Kiros noted the house was beautiful, but Luffas pointed out she barely got into the house, as she grew up in a tiny shed behind it, put there because her father hated her for being born with black wings. Luffas asked Libra, Aries, and Kiros if they knew about the goddess's scenario, and they said they didn't. Just then, the ghost of Parthenos appeared and offered to answer Luffas' questions. Luffas apologized for making her wait so long for his return, and she reintroduced herself, offering to serve Luffas again. Luffas asked Parthenos what she knew of the goddess's scenario, but she in return asked how much of his memories he was missing, which shocked Luffas. Parthenos further explained it was because the goddess pulled a fast one during Luffas' revival. Luffas asked why she ordered Parthenos to seal the city 200 years ago. Parthenos asked Luffas to come with her alone. She took him to a mountain used to seal one of the goddess's vanguards, the Dragon of Heaven who commands light, one of the 5 dragons commanded by the goddess Alovenus. Parthenos pointed out the dragons were all asleep and would awaken when the world was truly in danger to fulfill their duty as guardians. She explained that was why she drove away all the Heavenwing, only a few among them knew about the dragon and revered it as sacred. Luffas noticed the dragon Levia was modeled after this dragon. Parthenos reminded Luffas she plotted to destroy the goddess's scenario in the past but knew she wouldn't win if she made enemies of the goddess and the 5 dragons, so she sealed the dragon sleeping throughout the world and planned to challenge the goddess after defeating the Devil King. Luffas asked what determined if the world was in crisis, as the devil folk were on the verge of driving other races to extinction. Parthenos answered the goddess most likely determined whether the world faced a crisis, and since the dragons weren't awakened, the deeds of the devil folk were not recognized as a crisis. Lufas asked if the other dragons were also sealed. Parthenos explained Taurus the ox sealed the earth dragon in the underground world of Helheim, Aquarius the water-bearer sealed the fire dragon in the burning lands of Muspelheim, Gemini the twin sealed the wood dragon in the fairy homeland Alfheim, but the moon dragon was yet to be discovered. Lufas thanked Parthenos for the information and told her to return with the others, as he wanted to visit his mother's grave. Parthenos warned Lufas to be careful, as the goddess possessed a special ability known as Avatar, allowing her to create avatars that obeyed her directions and instigated others. They still didn't know where the goddess was lurking in the world. Parthenos then left to join the others. At his mother's grave, Lufas wondered why the original Lufas plotted to pick a fight with the goddess and concluded that Lufas Maphaahl was a hindrance to the goddess. That was why the goddess sealed away her memories during his resurrection, and he was used by the goddess to cover up the original Lufas. This infuriated him, and he vowed to meet the goddess and ask why he was dragged into this world. He declared he would uncover what the original Lufas planned to do and do it himself as his counterattack against the goddess who dragged him into this world. This is where the video ends. Remember to like and subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching and I'll see you next time.